All right, here we go. Unit 2. This is an FRQ from the year 2018 that was actually on a practice version of the exam. So this one is a great FRQ because it gives us practice in unemployment, GDP, inflation, and growth. So it really brings together multiple concepts from Unit 2. We have some data up here regarding the country's economic statistics, and then we also have some data over here about employment and the GDP deflator. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to calculate each of the following. Whenever you see calculate, you want to make sure that you're showing your mathematical work. So for part A, letter I, the nominal GDP is going to be the sum of consumption, investment, government spending, and then my net exports. And if I look up here, my net exports is going to be 25 minus 50 for negative 25. So this is my mathematical process. Take it for what it is. I'm going to add these numbers first. So I get 5, 9 plus 6 is 15 plus 5. I get 205. Now I'm going to subtract that 25, and I'm going to get sorry, I just got distracted. I'm going to get 180. Okay, so make sure you put that dollar sign there for your final answer. I'm recording this screencast while I'm doing a cafeteria study, so I just got a little distracted. Okay, so now we're going to do part 2. And now we're going to look at the real GDP. So remember that the real GDP is something that I can't calculate based on the data in the table alone. I have to consider other factors as well. So now I have the nominal over here, but I don't have the real. And I notice that I have the GDP deflator. So the deflator equals the nominal divided by the real times 100. So I'm just going to plug those numbers in. So I got 90 equals 180 divided by the real times 100. So when I simplify all of that, I'm going to get 200. So this is the real GDP, and this is the nominal GDP. And those are going to be worth 1 point each, just by the way, for a little test-taking strategy. And now I need the real GDP per capita. And remember, this is going to be the real GDP divided by the population. So I got to have the population somewhere. So I'm going to have 200 for the real GDP, and the population is 50. So I'm going to put 50 in here, and that's going to come out to be 4. So the real GDP per capita is $4. I like to put a rectangle around my final answers so that whomever's reading my paper knows exactly what my final answer is. Now let's head to B. Debbie is a citizen of the country of Wayland and owns a computer software firm in Pattiland. Is the output produced by Debbie's computer software firm included in Pattiland's nominal GDP? Calculate in part A? Explain. The answer is yes. As long as the firm is located in a country, it's going to be included in that country's GDP. It doesn't matter that a foreign individual, Debbie, lives in Wayland and comes into Pattiland to do that work, or if, maybe she doesn't come in every day, but maybe she just owns it. Okay, so it's going to be included in the Pattiland because GDP encompasses, you could say this a variety of ways, but this is how I'm going to say it today, encompasses all goods and services made within a nation's borders, regardless of the owner's native nation. Or home nation, I guess you could say. All right, so for part C, the GDP deflator of Pattiland in 2015 was 110. In 2016, was Pattiland experiencing inflation or deflation, or is there insufficient information to determine Pattiland's economic condition? Explain. So in 2015, I'm just going to rewrite the data here. It was 110. In 2016, it was 90. Whenever you have a GDP deflator that's above 100, it means prices are going up. If you have a GDP deflator that's below 100, it reflects that prices are on the decline. So the fact that this went from a number above 100 to below 100 tells me that this country is experiencing deflation or falling prices. And in my explanation, I would just explain how because the GDP deflator is falling, then that means that prices are falling. If you think about a balloon being deflated, let's just use this as an analogy. If I said to you, deflate 110 units of air out of that balloon, okay? And then the next balloon, I said, oh, this year you only have to deflate 90 units of air. So to get it to where we need it to be. So that can kind of show you that less is needed to reduce what price has done to the GDP in that country. So that might help you understand that prices are falling, okay? And then for part D, it says calculate the unemployment rate. So I'm actually going to do that up here. So the total population is 50, all right, and the labor force is 25. So remember that when we calculate the unemployment rate, we only want to use the people that are in the labor force. There's 20 people that are employed, so that tells me that there's 5 people who are unemployed. So 5 out of 25 is the same as 1/5, but you have to give a percentage for the unemployment rate. So the unemployment rate is going to be 20% because 1/5 is 20%. 1/5 is the same as 0.2. And then that is going to be times 100 to get us to a percentage. So you're going to get 20% there. So that's the Pattiland question from 2018.